This episode of Simple Civics Greenville County is brought to you by Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, providing free books to children 0 to 5 throughout Greenville County. To sign up, visit greenvillefirststeps.org/freebooks. That's greenvillefirststeps.org/freebooks.
Classroom technology has transformed the way teachers teach and students learn. It has opened new doors for engagement and personalized learning. Today, we'll explore how these changes have taken shape, the challenges and opportunities ahead, and how the district supports both innovation and student well-being.
On this episode of Simple Civics EdTalks podcast, sharing their insights are Greenville County Schools instructional technology facilitators Avis Canty-Duck and Stephanie Williams. Let's get started. Aaron and I are here with Stephanie Williams, Executive Director of Educational Technology Services in Greenville County Schools, and Avis Canty-Duck, a technology specialist here in Greenville County Schools. So thank you for being here, y'all.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you. If you would each of you just kind of give a short little rundown of what brought you to this place in education?
Okay, well, I started 20 some odd years ago as a special education teacher, and I was very thankful and grateful to have principals that allowed me to sort of be a guinea pig for using technology in the classroom. Because I had smaller classes, we could make mistakes, but still stay on track. So it just allowed us to grow and experiment, find what works. And from there, I just kind of catapulted over into instructional technology, really. So that's what I've been doing for the last 13 years. Just very passionate about helping teachers see technology not as an extra, something extra to do, but an enhancer that empowers learning.
My love of technology started way back in 1996. I took a workshop and I was like, I don't think this is going anywhere. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm able to prepare my students to use technology to enhance their learning? And so I've just been dabbling around with it since then and just love how it can enhance the instructional practice of teachers. I can't believe it, but I'm going into my 18th year in Greenville County. What is interesting is that Avis and I used to be adjunct instructors for instructional technology when we were both still in the classroom, and we would go out to different schools around Greenville County and lead different professional developments. And then from there, we both ended up in instructional technology, and this is my 4th year as the director of instructional technology. Anything that's used to solve a problem is technology. A pencil is technology. So trying to interweave both technology education and instructional technology has been absolutely a pleasure. And just to kind of see how our teachers in Greenville County has latched on to technology has been wonderful.
On that note, I remember celebrating the first Chromebook cart arrival with both of you way back, like 15 years ago.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to talk today about how it's evolved since then. Obviously, that was a big deal then, but so much has happened in 15 years. So how would you guys describe what you've seen over those years and where we're headed?
I would say that just from that excitement of the Chromebooks to not even just so much as the Chromebook itself as a tool, but just even strategies that teachers and students can use to, like I said, strengthen their instruction and also strengthen their learning. Now, of course, in 2020, when COVID hit, technology use took a big hit. Our department probably delivered over 300 hours worth of professional development just to help support teachers throughout that transition. When you think about technology, you just think about putting a student on that device and hopefully that they're being creators instead of consumers. A lot of times when students are coming into the classroom, they've been using technology for entertainment purposes. So having them to kind of transition their thinking from entertainment to educational practices. So that has been a big, huge jump in the last 15 years is we use it a lot for entertainment. Social media has taken the world by storm. And so students are used to that. They're used to those different platforms. but how can we turn those platforms and make it educational? How can we help our students become creators and not consumers? So that has been the big, huge jump over the last 15 years.
And I love how you say creators versus consumers. And I know, Avis, you're doing this daily, helping teachers to say, we want the technology to help students create, not just
Consume.
right. How do we do that?
Well, I would say as I think back, Aaron brought back the memory of the Chromebook carts and just the rollout, us having the PLA, Personalized Learning Academy, for every single school before the Chromebooks or any devices even hit the doors of the classrooms. I would say that we've done a lot of work on the back end to be very purposeful in the integration of those devices. So we knew going in that as soon as someone said we're putting Chromebooks in the hands of the students, we have to write our own story and we have to get ahead of the screen time, which is not it at all. So with that purposeful integration, we focused on technology that supported learning goals, amplified the student voices, because that's so important nowadays where kids will not speak up for you. But if you give them a device and a different way to say what they want to say, then they can shine. And we wanted to ensure accessibility. So with that, technology helped us to remove some barriers that we were seeing, and not necessarily from the instructional technology department, but I have the benefit of coming directly from the classroom into this role. So I could see there's students that would not speak, but we give them a device and all of a sudden I've got a chatterbox. And what they said was absolutely phenomenal. And I still have voice snippets of my students when we were doing, mini podcasts in the classroom, and what they were saying was just amazing. And it did my little heart good. I had a special ed class, so we were smaller and we were a family, as is, I know, the classroom teachers are as well. But just being purposeful and intentional with what we were doing. Everything that we roll out has a purpose. It's not just because.
It's a new thing. It's like you said, we have to be very intentional simply because we're trying to tell a story that technology is not a tool that is going to harm. Can it harm? Yes, absolutely. But that is not our intent. Our intent is to make sure, as Avis mentioned, that we are providing that access for all students who may not necessarily have access at home. So when they come into one of our buildings, they are able to share that voice. And I remember this one particular student, when you said that about their student voice in the recordings, I was over at one of our middle schools and we were doing videos and they had to record themselves and put together a video based on whatever the standard was. And the student like, man, I am so professional right now. And I just paused and I just laughed. And he was like, just showing him how to make transitions. And he had built out this video showing his understanding of that particular topic. This is what he has learned over the past 2 or 3 weeks. And now he was able to share his creation of his understanding about this topic. And it is just such a joy when they are excited and you see that they are constructing knowledge because they are consuming the information that the teacher has shared. They're processing the information, and now they're able to turn that around and capture it in some type of a project to really encapsulate everything that they've learned over the past 2 or 3 weeks. And so that statement of, oh man, this is so professional right now. Like he just knew that he has just hit the top when it comes to video creation. I was like, you're right. That is so professional. But when they're actually truly engaged and using the academic language and what they're creating, that's when you know that you have transformed the learning experience for those students.
Y'all kind of just hit on this, but technology is such an amazing tool for the classroom, right? We've got Google Classroom that helps us stay organized, from documents to saving paper because we can post things, to review games to software that helps us show what we learned. There's so many pros to it. How do you help teachers understand how to use it in a way that is that creation versus an easy way to post instead of teach, or get on this instead of us engaging in a conversation about it? How do you find that balance for teachers? How do you help them find that balance?
Finding that balance, is definitely a journey. And also, you have to kind of look at your audience and where they are in their comfort level with technology. If you think about classroom management, if you really have poor classroom management, unfortunately, adding technology to the mix is only going to amplify that you have poor classroom management. And so we really try to support teachers in small, bite-sized portions. Like, think about, let us just come and do this one activity and model that activity. So one thing that we encourage our facilitators is getting into the classrooms and modeling the lesson. One thing that I think is to our benefit as instructional technology facilitators is that we are on the front lines and we're trying to model best practices. Sometimes it is scary for teachers. And so utilizing other avenues to kind of reach teachers through like our newsletters, our social media, and showing other teachers and how other teachers are using it, that has been very helpful. And showing teachers the difference between just posting an assignment and actually using the technology for students to create. What do you think, Avis?
I will piggyback off of what you said. Our department motto is teachers growing teachers. So, at the forefront of everything, when a teacher contacts us or a leadership team says, we need help with this department, with whatever, our goal is to empower those teachers. So, before we go in, we want to make sure that we are doing something that's going to build the teacher confidence so that they will have this technology as part of the instruction and not an add-on. So as we look at ways on supporting teachers, we have PD sessions. We will come into a school, we will do team PD, we will have staff PD, hands-on workshops. We try not to ever do sit and get. During the workshops, we want you to actually do while we're showing you how much impact this tool could have in your classroom. We have self-paced courses because lots of teachers, as soon as you say you have PD on a Wednesday, that's what they're looking like. So we've got the self-paced courses. We send out a newsletter every week with things that the district has paid for. Here's how you can use it other than it's just technology. How can we use it to impact instruction? And like Stephanie said earlier, we collaborate a lot. We want to support you so that you're confident when we walk outside of that classroom. When you feel empowered, then you're going to go tell your teammate, and then your teammate's going to do it, and then it's going to spread. So that's our goal.
What emerging technologies or trends do you see for the next 3 to 5 years?
I am in charge of teacher efficacy. So the latest trend, and I've been attending conferences to learn how to do this, is setting up a platform for digital credentials for teachers. So we are exploring different ways to recognize them for the skills they are learning. We recognize that they don't get everything from Greenville County School District, but it's important to acknowledge the effort that they have put in to gain new skills, and it's important for them to have that recognition here in their own district. So we're looking at digital credentials, of course, to celebrate teacher growth and skill development.
Well, we know AI is here. AI is not going anywhere. And it's going to be ever evolving over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. This tool is one of the tools that is definitely different from tools of the past. Here we have AI that is constantly morphing week by week, sometimes day by day. It's a tool that is constantly learning and is based on just a lot of data that's being trained on. So it's going to be interesting over the next few years how AI is really going to transform learning as far as teachers' instructional practice, how they're utilizing that tool to create content, to help support students. And when I say create content, they're not making up something. Of course, it's always going to be based on our standards. But as far as what kind of experiences, what kind of learning experiences teachers will be able to create, our focus over the last 2 years has just really been focusing on supporting teachers and making sure they have the best understanding of what AI is, particularly generative AI, and how they can support their instructional practice. Now, this being year 3, we are moving towards our secondary students and getting them some exposure to AI, but it's really under a very controlled setting. We're using the platform Magic School, and students can't just go on to Magic School and interact with AI. Teachers are going to have to create a room for students to go in. And those rooms that teachers are creating are very purposeful. Whether they're creating a chat bot where the students can interact with George Washington, or they're giving students opportunity to quiz themselves on a particular standard because they have a test coming up in the next week or so. So they're being very purposeful in the type of generators that they're creating and putting into these rooms for students to have access to. Another area I think we're going to see a lot of growth, and it's been there, accessibility. But as we have more and more students with different types of disabilities, we need to address that, particularly if we're doing a lot of things that are digital, not only just our students, but even our parents who want to support their students. And if you saying, hey, go to my website, I have this resource there. Well, if that resource that you created is not accessible, that parent can't help their child. So that is going to be another focus in the next few years of making sure that whatever we are creating and putting out there for our communities to view, we need to make sure that it's accessible. And also, I would say maybe I think about eSports. That is going to be another area that is growing leaps and bounds. We're doing some research right now and how we can bring that. We do have a couple of schools that have been dabbling around. I think one of our schools, if they won a regional championship or state, I'm not quite sure, but we're very excited. But it's a middle school, and we want to continue that pathway for them at the high school. And right now, there isn't a pathway. So I think that is going to be another area that we're going to see some growth.
Awesome. We like to wrap up our sessions with asking if there was anything that you want the public to know about public schools and technology. What would you say in just a couple of sentences?
I wish the public knew how intentional we are about using technology. When we go into the classrooms, our goal is to help enhance the teaching, but not replace the teaching. The relationships that the teachers build with the students is paramount. It comes before everything. And when I was in the classroom, my students would not take a risk for me to learn something new or do something that would stretch them if I didn't have the relationship with them. So that is the heart of every single one of us is a classroom teacher before anything else. And the children that we encounter every day come before anything else. The relationship comes first. And we are thinking every day about what is best for them when we introduce or when we use any piece of technology. How are they going to take this and run with it and become their own?
One thing that's misinterpreted about technology is that we are placing students on a device from the time they hit our doors until the time that they leave. And that is just so far-fetched. We can't build relationships by putting a student on a device for 7, 8 hours a day. So I think that is definitely a misrepresentation of what individuals thinks may be happening in the classroom. We need that human component. We always will need a teacher. You know, that has been a big concern too with AI, that AI is going to replace a teacher. AI cannot replace a teacher. That's another technology. Google didn't replace a teacher. Wikipedia didn't replace a teacher. This is just another instructional tool or another tool that we can use for instructional purposes that is not going to replace that human element. So if the thoughts and ideas is that our students are on our device for 6 or 7 hours a day, they are highly misled. They are highly misled. That means they have yet to step into a classroom, which I will say I love how our district, particularly our schools within our district, are telling their stories. When you go to and visit their websites, they're telling their story. Their social media is telling their stories and how their students are engaging with their peers, engaging with the content, engaging with teachers. That is just so important. So that is one thing. We're not sitting on a device. We don't have that kind of time.
Thank you guys for being here with us today. We just so appreciate you tapping into what you guys do as a team for the teachers in the district and the amazing training you provide, especially in our summer tech conference that is amazing. If you are local and in the area, you need to check that out. But also how we continue to fight this battle every single year. And it's not going to end of how do we continue to evolve and learn the new technologies and try to figure out the best way to use them with purpose in our classrooms.
Thank you for joining us for today's conversation.
We're Mary Leslie Anderson and Aaron Rigaud with Rooted Consulting.
Until next time, keep nurturing school culture
and keep growing strong roots in your community.
Simple Civics EdTalks is a joint project of Greater Good Greenville, Greenville First Steps, and public education partners Greenville County.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simplecivicsgreenvillecounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.